I mean, one by one. You know what I mean? I think you look at, you know, obviously when you have a game like we had, you know, I don't think anybody's happy. So you attack it full, you know, head on, and you look at, you know, you're honest with yourself, me personally, and then, you know, everybody has to be honest with themselves and say, hey, what are the issues? What, you know, led to us, you know, not being successful, having the issues we did, and then, you know, and then you address each of them. You know what I mean? So, you know, you don't do it all at once, but you know, one at a time, and you know, it starts. You know, it starts, you know, up front as far as the protection is concerned. And it's not, you know, it's not all the offensive line. I mean, you know, the quarterback has to get the ball out. I mean, obviously, we got to block people. The quarterback's got to get the ball out. Guys got to get open quickly so the ball can come out, you know, and I got to make sure I'm doing a great job of getting those guys in position to make plays.
And I guess this week, what have you done, I guess, specifically to say, hey, you know, we should address these sort of areas and hope it trickles down?
You know, just address the kind of those things I'm talking about. You know what I mean? Making sure, again, we're more secure up front, that we're doing things where the ball can get out, and that we are getting the ball out and we're getting open, you know, quickly in our routes. There's certain things schematically that we're going to do and we're going to look at, you know, to try to address those issues. But like I said, it's everybody. You know, it's a team game, and that is pass protection is everyone's involved. Everyone's got a hand in it.
You know, I'm sure you didn't expect 9 sacks. So when you're coming up with a game plan all week and then all of a sudden you see things kind of going the way they were early on, how do you make that balance between sticking with these plays we've been practicing versus like, all right, there's something happening here that's kind of causing our offense to act in a way we weren't expecting. Let's do something different.
Yeah, I think just doing stuff where the ball can get out more quickly. You know, that's kind of what we did a little bit more in the second half, and that's what you got to do. You know what I mean? If when you're getting that kind of pressure and you know, they did a nice job of generating that. Then, you know, you just got to do stuff where the ball gets out. You know what I mean? And, you know, you like to run the ball. That helps, obviously. You know, when you get in the second half of a game like that, it's a little bit difficult to do that. But early on, that's something that you can do that combats that.
And with the running game, how are you seeing Antonio's vision and the blocking and just sort of the operation altogether?
I think Antonio's been you know, he's been doing pretty well. I know that you know, the yards per carry isn't exactly what you have. He's had a lot of carries that have been, you know, in the goal line situation or short yardage, and then there's some that, you know, early in games where, you know, we got to get more out of, so we're not, you know, running the ball and then we're in, you know, a second and long situation. But, you know, we can run the ball more frequently. You know, I think that helps. And then we got to be more effective when we do it.
When we spoke with Terry yesterday, he mentioned he talked to you and just like conversations about how he can get more involved in the first half. Like, what it might sound basic, but like, what can you do to get like your number one receiver the ball earlier on?
I mean, you can, you know, we had some plays designed for him in the first half, and whether it was, you know, them taking it away with coverage or having some issues up front with protection, obviously he wasn't able to get them. You know, kind of what I talked about earlier with getting the ball out more quickly, and plays where, you know, he's getting the ball and you're getting it out more quickly. There's in the passing game, unless it's like a screen, there's no guarantee, you know, ever that the guy you're designing the play for is going to get the ball. But we can do, you know, there's a lot of different things that way that we can do to get him the ball.
Yeah, Terry said he met with you or you met with him. Just what did you kind of try and emphasize?
Just had a conversation about how, you know, obviously how important he is to the offense. You know, he tries to energize the group. And, you know, I just let him know it's not lost on me that we, you know, didn't get him the ball in the first half, and that, you know, that it's not being overlooked, you know, and I think he already knew that, and I think he appreciated just having the conversation, and he's all in. I mean, all of our guys are all in. Everybody was collectively disappointed with how we played. We felt like we were off to a pretty good start, and then, you know, this game can be pretty humbling. And like I said, give credit to them. They did a nice job, but we feel like we can do better as a whole group. So, you know, I think everyone's just all in, you know, ready to work and move forward, and how can we bounce back and play better from this?
And this may be simplistic, so sorry, but like when you're breaking down like sacks or like looking at what happened, are you assigning like individual blame on a play to like this one's on Wentz, this one's on Troy? Like, how does that process work?
We do. I mean, we look at it, you know, okay, where did the protection break down? Okay, should the ball have been out? You know what I mean? Okay, he didn't have a chance to get it out. Okay, he was going to get it out here, but a guy ran the wrong route. You know what I mean? I'm just throwing a bunch of different things. I mean, every play that we run in games and, you know, in practice for that matter, we grade and we make sure that we're doing, you know, exactly what we're supposed to be doing. And sometimes it goes, hey, they just covered it and he had to hold the ball too long, and then it's on me. You know what I mean? So, and making sure that we're doing the right things. And like I said, there's plenty of blame to go around, myself included, but we're all working to get better.
Brian Robinson, we've seen him doing more and more each week. What's it been like watching that recovery?
I think it's pretty cool. B-Rob's a good, great young man and really working hard. His attitude's been outstanding. I think, I'm not a doctor, so I don't know exactly when he'll be ready. I know the rules that, he's got one more game by rule, and then it'll be evaluated, and we'll see, when he's able to get back, and we'll all be excited when he's able to come back.
Last time in Dallas didn't go very well for you guys, obviously. Do you pull up that tape? Are there things to learn?
Yeah,
do you
look at all. You look at all the tape. It wasn't the most fun. After the game we had Sunday, and then all of a sudden you're looking back at those tapes and looking at Dallas's defense in general. I mean, they're a really good defense, and they create a lot of problems for offenses. You look at already their 3 games this year. I mean, they've gotten after some pretty good offenses. But yeah, you gotta. We got to be ready for all they bring. Obviously, really talented. Coach Quinn does a really good job of moving guys around, giving you a lot of different looks. Of course, we look at it. You guys got to swallow it and prepare and be ready to go be better and attack.
Speaking of Dallas, obviously this rivalry is one of the historic ones. You got to experience some of that when you were growing up here. It is different, though, today compared to back in the heyday. I mean, that's just what it is, but how do you explain to people, your younger guys, if you care to at all, about what this rivalry was, so when they're playing this game, it is the next game, but there's maybe a little bit more to it?
Yeah, I mean, we're preparing for the opponent, so we look at who they are on defense, everything like that, so we don't get into that as much, but what we do get into, and why it's a divisional game. So the guys that have been here, they're playing those same guys. I mean, obviously rosters changed a little bit, but they're playing them twice a year. And then they understand just living in the area. And you're right. I mean, it is a little different than what it's been in the heyday, but it still is. It's a divisional game. We know that obviously that matters more on the schedule. And then it's a team that you're going to see twice a year, and we know the guys know what it means to the fans. You know what I mean? To play a team like this that there is that history with.
And a sort of a different topic. Some positions on offense, maybe it's a little bit easier to week change things around. Typically, the offensive line, though, you're looking for 5 guys that go out there all the time. Is that? And I'm not suggesting anything with this group, but just in general, is that a unit where you ideally have 5 and it is harder to think about making something more of a radical change with the lineup?
No, I mean, I don't think, we're not thinking about making any changes on the lineup, just to want to make that clear up front. But just like any other position, I mean, we evaluate every week, and I understand what you're saying about 5 guys playing together. But, if we feel like that there's someone that's going to help us play better, then we'll go ahead and make that change regardless of the position. And I don't think that makes much of an impact, because everyone on the offense has got to be playing together and in unison and have that type of relationship.
And you brought up some of the stuff that you felt was better after halftime. How much after a game like that do you go back and look for, hey, what could I have adjusted a little bit sooner, or how much you evaluate your decisions throughout the game? And if something,
I mean, every game, win or loss, I evaluate, what I did, and there's always plays that things I wish I would have done differently, things that I feel good about. There's things that happen sometimes negatively that you say, shoot, I don't know what the other team made a play, or whatever, we just didn't get it done. But that's every game, and you're always going to go reflect back and try to be better. Like I said, it's harder after a game like this, where you don't play well and you lose at home. But I do the same thing after wins too. And always, because part of this league, a huge part of this league is you got to improve. You got to improve, and you got to play better as you go on throughout the year, and that's how you end up having a good season, because the good teams do. They don't. You don't stay the same. So we got to always be working to be better.
Play action game hasn't been as effective. Why do you feel it is? Is it about stemming from the run game? Is it about tendencies? Why do you think that is?
I don't know. I think the one thing, I think we've had some sacks on some play action, so that and then when you have multiple sacks on play action pass, and you've only played 3 games, that's going to hurt your efficiency numbers, in a smaller sample size. Again, first things first, we got to protect the quarterback. We got to protect the ball. We got to protect the quarterback. Again, it starts with me, and then up front, but then also the quarterback getting the ball out. Everything I said, it's a big thing. And if we do that better, whether it's drop back or play action, we'll have some success.
What do you make of Dallas's defensive line, and kind of how do they differ from the challenge you faced with Philly?
They're an outstanding unit. I mean, they're playing really well. Going back to last year, and then they really only improved at the beginning of this season. They're a little bit more multiple up front, than Philly, and with Parsons, I guess he's a linebacker, but he's a defensive lineman. I mean, he plays everywhere, So, and then obviously DeMarcus Lawrence, and then the rest of the group. I mean, they all play extremely hard. They do a lot of stunts and twists and stuff up front that you got to prepare for. Where Philly, doesn't. I mean, they still do that, but not at that frequency. And they don't have, they'll move guys around a little bit, but not as much. Where you have to have the mental challenge of IDing that Dallas does.
Anybody else? All right,
Good.
Sorry, can I ask you about Nick Ryan real quick and how you get somebody like that up to speed?
Yeah, I mean, Nick came in. He's a pro. He's played in this league. Started a lot of games. He understands, what's at stake. He had a great job last week of studying and being ready to, go in if we would have needed him in that game. And he's done well so far in practice. I mean, it's just, you meet with them. Our offensive line coaches have done a great job of meeting with them. We walk through and practice, and he's got to be really focused in, not try to learn everything, but just learn the game plan, for this week. And a lot of that is, looking at Dallas's defense and all that kind of stuff. But Nick's done a great job. And like I said, he's a pro, and he'll be ready to go.
Did you see Ken Dorsey's blow up in the booth last week?
I did.
You ever had one of those moments?
I don't think so. No, I didn't. I mean, everyone's personality type's different, but I feel for him because I know exactly. I mean, I felt like that maybe on the inside sometimes, but this is an emotional game, guys, and we put a lot into it. So when stuff like that happens, and you only get 17 opportunities in the regular season, so when stuff like that happens, sometimes everybody reacts differently. But I know Ken. I've known him for a long time, and felt for him in that situation. So,
Appreciate it, Coach.
all right, thanks, guys.
I will open the locker book.